Now on CoastTV News.
The first Democrat to file for District 20's now vacant seat. Hear what Ruby Schaefer has to say. Plus, a license loophole has Maryland drivers switching states to save money. Why officials say it is against the law.
And we've been tracking storms throughout the night. We have more on the way for early tomorrow morning. I'll give you the latest on what's going on.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. We begin tonight with a woman who drifted out to sea near Lewes. She was rescued Monday evening by off-duty lifeguards. North Shore's Beach Patrol Captain Kent Buxton told us she apparently couldn't get back into her boat and started drifting away. He says off-duty lifeguards heard the call. They rushed to the beach and spotted her about 300 yards offshore near Cape Henlopen. 3 lifeguards swam out, brought her back safely. Paramedics were there waiting for her, and apparently the search had been going on for an hour with a helicopter and a Coast Guard boat, but the lifeguards found her first. Now we're taking a live look outside into Lewes, and we're going to turn things right over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, a lot of rain, a lot of thunder today.
Yeah, we had a significant amount of thunderstorms and scattered showers that pushed across and really started making an impact. We're going to be looking for the same thing. For example, for Wednesday, at least in the morning time throughout the Cambridge area, we got up to 95 degrees for the high today. That was only 4 away from our record high. Here is a look at where we are right now. In Milford, we have some leftover sprinkles on a lot of the lenses right now. We're temperatures in the 70s right now. And as far as tonight is concerned, our severity concern is going to be level 1, the lowest level possible. We still have some scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms pushing through. So I wanted to show you this. This is highlighting areas where we're seeing signatures for possible circulation. But most of this has been drifting to our north throughout Kent and up towards Newcastle County. And then we see the frequent lightning strikes. They were much more dense and much more frequent a little bit earlier, but now they have now dissipated for us as this begins to push through. We have, I see that it sails towards Quantico, headed towards Columbia, and all this is tracking to the east pretty steadily at about 35 miles per hour. We'll have more on your storms in a moment. Till then, back to you, Christina.
Thank you, Paul. Well, new tonight, Ruby Schaefer has officially filed as a Democratic candidate for the 20th Representative District House seat in the 2026 election. Schaefer is the first Democrat to put her name in for the seat that was vacated by Stell Parker Selby. She's a lifelong Delawarean, and she lives in Lewes and owns a small business. Schaefer began her public service career with the Delaware Department of State Planning, and she later worked with the Division of Soil and Water at DENREC.
When they call me, if I am lucky enough to be elected, that I will return their calls, I will listen to their concerns, and I will also try to resolve their issue to the best of my capability.
Now on the other side, Republican Nikki Miller has also filed for the 2026 election for the District 20 seat. Miller lost to Parker Selby by just 275 votes in the 2024 general election. Now, Schaefer says she plans to take part in a public forum along with other Democratic candidates vying for the vacant District 20 seat. The public forum is happening Thursday, July 3rd. It's happening at the Lewes Public Library. The Sussex County Democratic Committee announced late last week that the event runs from 6:30 to 8:30. It's open to all registered Democrats. However, only candidates who live in the 20th district may participate. Well, vehicle registration fees are on the rise once again in Maryland. The new prices went into effect today, and drivers with larger cars like heavy-duty pickup trucks are paying the highest price. Their fees went up by $30. People with smaller cars that weigh less than 3,500 pounds, they'll see a $10 increase. Drivers we spoke with say they're not thrilled, but they do see a silver lining.
If it goes to the proper place where it should, and that is, I think, upkeep of the roads, and having traveled down Interstate 95 or across country, there are some states where the roads are really not very good.
And those rising fees are bringing attention to an illegal loophole for registering your car. Registration fees can be more than $100 cheaper in Virginia. And according to MDOT, a significant number of Maryland drivers are switching their registration to Virginia illegally. We caught up with a local Salisbury insurance agent who says they've certainly seen the issue, but believe it's being handled.
Well, people try that, but the police are well aware that that happens and they're keeping an eye out for it. And they're also cracking down on people that buy historic tags that are not using it for historic vehicles.
And according to MDOT, last June, over 111,000 Virginia vehicle owners or co-owners had a Maryland address. In registration fees alone, they say that loss of revenue adds up to about $8 million to $12 million. A new bill in effect today bans restaurants from using single-use plastics like the ones you see in your to-go boxes or plastic stirrers for drinks. Customers will now be given out paper straws unless the person asks specifically for a plastic one. The owner of High Tide Coffee and Bowls in Fenwick Island says they've been doing this for years.
I think it's important to be conscious of the plastic use just because we're right across the street from the beach. So trying to limit that as much as possible is really important to us.
Delaware is now the 8th state with a bill like this, specifically regarding straws. Also, a controversial bill passed late on the last night of the legislative session. The bill would require counties to approve conditional use permits for substations located on unincorporated land if the proposed facility meets a specific set of conditions and is renewable energy. The bill overrides Sussex County Council's decision to deny the use of land near the Indian River Power Plant to be used for a U.S. wind substation. And we did speak with people today who are for and against the bill. Some say they don't see what the big deal is.
I don't think it's going to affect anything other than it could help bring down the cost for electricity if it was for everybody.
We did reach out to U.S. Wind today. We did not hear back. But one key part of the compromise that led to the bill's passage, a lawsuit filed by U.S. Wind, will be able to proceed without legislative interference. Advocates say that protects Delaware's courts' authority. To national politics, Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote for President Donald Trump's domestic agenda bill, which the president has nicknamed the Big Beautiful Bill. The final vote was 51 to 50. Now, after days of grueling work persuading key Republican holdouts, the GOP's hard work still not done yet. The bill now goes back to the narrowly divided House. Sherelle Hubbard has the latest on the state of Trump's mega budget bill.
Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote to pass President Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
The Senate being evenly divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
The mega bill, which is the president's sweeping domestic policy bill, is back in the House after a close Senate vote. They must pass the Senate's exact version of the bill. Trump displaying optimism aboard Air Force One.
The bill passed, and I think it's going to do very well in the House. We'll see how that works out, but it looks like it's ahead of schedule. See what happens. Happy about it.
But the president's optimism may not be shared by those who will vote on it.
House Democrats are going to do everything we can over the next few hours, today, tomorrow, for the balance of this week and beyond, to stop this bill from ever becoming law.
There's a lot of us on the House side that are worried about with the Senate bill, and I think we'll have a hard time passing.
There is something for everyone.
Despite Trump stepping in to try to convince Republicans to back his plan, 3 Senate Republicans broke ranks, with Senators Susan Collins, Tom Tillis, and Rand Paul voting against the bill over concerns about Medicaid cuts and increasing the deficit.
This is not a fiscally conservative bill. And if you're someone who thinks the debt is a problem, I don't see how you can vote for this.
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And we are just getting started this evening. Coming up ahead, a bill to protect immigrants is now on the governor's desk. Why advocates say it can't wait. And coming up, good news for those planning to drive this holiday weekend, where gas prices stand right now.
And along the bay, we have some scattered showers and thunderstorms racing across the bay, headed towards the Sussex County area. Watching out for more thunderstorms to start firing up in the early morning hours. We'll be back in 60 seconds to talk about it. It's been a stormy night, and we're going to continue to stay that way. As soon as it's kind of been an ebb and flow to these storms, and that'll continue to be the case for us. In Milford, for example, we're at 75 degrees, so we've lost a good deal of our heat energy, and that's been happening, universally across the entire Delmarva Peninsula. It's 74 degrees in Milton, Millsboro, Dagsboro, Long Neck, Georgetown, and Milford at this hour. Now, our threat of severe weather has dropped from a level 2 down to a level 1. So we still have a chance of scattered showers, thunderstorms developing across the area, but we're talking about at most winds at about 40 to 60 miles per hour. And even though I picked up on some hail signatures with some of the storms, to be honest, haven't had much in the way of the report of hail. But we've been having a lot of these. These are our upper circulation signatures, and it's a fascinating thing from a scientific standpoint. And I've been tracking them all night long, but they haven't come into fruition of creating any opportunities for tornadoes that we have been notified of. Just so you know, yesterday we had a tornado that was reported after the fact, and we called the National Weather Service about it, and a colleague of mine actually works there now. And he informed me that that was not because they had budget cuts because they were fully staffed, but they've been having problems with the Dover Air Force Base Doppler radar, so they're trying to repair it. So it's on the fritz right now. And they hope to get it repaired in the next couple of weeks. But that being the case, we did pick up on a lot of lightning strikes as a result of these storms that pushed through. So we have a lot of signatures that are indicated right now, and thus far we have no confirmation from the National Weather Service that they were even light or very brief tornadoes. But we do see that we have a lot of them in the way of scattered showers that began to push throughout the area with our evening planner. We have temperatures that are expected to be in the 70s. Now, over the next few hours, we're going to continue to see that it stays on the mild side as far as the temperature is concerned. But you know what else is going to be? Very, very stormy, continuing throughout a good portion of the night hours. Now, with that being the case, why is it going to be stormy? Well, here's the deal. As we take a look at some of our close-up models, and this is really where we have to get more micro scale in our modeling. We're seeing scattered showers that are going to push throughout Seaford early in the morning time, and then we see a line developing about 9:30 coming towards Seaford. So by mid-morning, watch out for this line to push through Seaford, and then another one to push through Delmar right around lunchtime. Okay, very micro scaling, but modeling. But that's kind of how we can dissect this thing for you. And then in Lewes at 10:30. All right, between Milton and Lewes, right around 10:30. That same time frame, that's when we're going to see this cell push through and cause some problems there. Now, as far as generally speaking, everybody's going to have their fair share of thunderstorms, particularly for Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, not so much. I mean, it's true for us in Ocean City. We get 82 to 80 degrees and more sunshine on Friday. Same holds true for us in Lewes, but we got to get past another wet day for Wednesday. So in summarizing things tonight, stormy weather could persist. Early morning showers for tomorrow at 83. Then we jump to 89 as the heat and the humidity comes back in style. Finally, here's a look at the 7-day forecast. At least by July the 4th, all the stormy weather should be over.
All right, thank you, Paul. And it's not just us. Tonight, 26 million Americans are under flooding alerts and 33 million are at risk of severe weather as thunderstorms roll through the Northeast, all during one of the summer's busiest travel weeks. NBC's Tom Costello is at Newark Airport as crowds are trying to catch flights.
Tuesday evening and day 2 of severe weather tearing into the I-95 corridor, with D.C. and Virginia getting sheets of rain, heavy flooding in Maryland and New Jersey. Hours-long ground delays and ground stops at all 3 New York area airports and Philly, Baltimore, and D.C., with delays building nationwide.
Ethiopian 509, give way to Air India to disconnect on spot 26. You may disconnect on spot 27.
Inside United Airlines Newark Ops Center, a tightly choreographed ballet. Newark is United's busiest East Coast hub, 760 departing and arriving flights every day.
As we start to see the weather impacts start to build up out here to the west, so some of our west fixes are going to get hit.
Just 6 weeks after Newark melted down due to air traffic control equipment failures and the loss of runway 4 left. Now reopened, the airport is running at full throttle. Newark shares this airspace with 3 other airports, major airports, JFK, LaGuardia, Teterboro. There's also 50 smaller airports nearby, and it makes this the most complicated airspace in the country.
Athens inbound 125 will have a medical emergency on board. ETA is 1356.
Getting priority clearance, a United flight from Athens with a 25-year-old in medical distress.
The other aircraft taxiing is going to have to hold, and then the medical emergency is the first aircraft on the ground and to that gate.
Amazingly, United says Newark is now the Big Apple's most on-time airport.
Depending on the airplane type, we have between 30 and about an hour and 10 minutes to turn that plane.
Tonight, Mother Nature seems intent on ruining best-laid plans.
How well can we manage this tonight so tomorrow morning looks like nothing ever happened?
Tom Costello, NBC News, Newark Airport.
Here's some good news for drivers hitting the road this 4th of July weekend. The price of summer holiday gas has not been this cheap since 2021. According to Gas Buddy, prices are expected to average between $3.10 and $3.15 per gallon nationally. That's down from $3.49 per gallon last year. AAA says a record-setting 61.6 million people are expected to travel by car this 4th of July weekend. Well, deadly motorcycle crashes are on the rise in Delaware, according to the Office of Highway Safety. The agency says in just the last 6 weeks, 8 riders have been killed on Delaware roads. The agency says motorcyclists are often in blind spots. The agency recommends drivers turn their head, looking over their shoulder, and lean forward before changing lanes. Drivers heading to the Chesapeake Bay Bridge are getting a heads up on the best and worst times to travel. The Maryland State Highway Administration says traffic should be normal from the 2nd to the 4th, but the agency says avoid using the bridge Saturday and Sunday between the hours of 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The State Highway Administration also stopping non-emergency lane closures from July 3rd to early Monday morning. They'll also have extra patrols in busy areas to quickly clear broken down cars and help with crash cleanup. Coming up, a summer shortage. Why the Red Cross is calling on all blood types to donate.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
A Delaware bill would prohibit Delaware law enforcement agencies from working with ICE or other federal authorities for immigration enforcement. Telemundo Del Marve and Coast TV News reporter Ana Sofia Roman shows us what that bill means for the community.
House Bill 182 is one step closer to becoming law. Carmen Robledo was born in Lewes, but her parents are immigrants from Guatemala. She shares what it means.
It's a sense of safety, it's a sense of hope, because now me being a part of not necessarily the immigrant community, right, but I live in that community. I'm surrounded by the community all the time, and so I know the fear that they lived in.
Araceli Gill, an immigrant herself, highlights the importance of making it safer for immigrants when it comes to reporting crimes.
It's very important that for other immigrants, they see that they don't have a fear to know that local law enforcement will work with immigration. They are able to go and report any type of crime that they feel that they need to report. They won't fear that ICE is just going to go like broadly in the streets in daylight and go after them or target them based on the color of their skin, or how they look or how they perceive they may look or talk.
Not everyone agrees. Well, none of the senators that voted against this bill come from districts down here in Sussex County. 2 members of the House, Shoup and Hilovsky, from District 36 and District 4, did vote against it. But for Robledo, it is critical to see immediate action.
I think this bill, sooner rather than later, is so important just because it goes to show that our immigrant community's presence, and not only that, but everybody who advocated for it, our voices do matter. And it's just goes to show that it's important to include everybody, right? Whereas the governor, you should be thinking about everybody in the state and ahead of time.
Now that the bill has made it through the legislature, all eyes are on the governor's decision. District 14 Representative Claire Snyder Hall and District 6 Senator Russ Huxtable were co-sponsors of the bill. In Milton, Ana Sofia Roman, Coast TV News.
And Coast TV did reach out to the governor's office to find out if and when he plans to sign the bill into law, but we have not heard back. This story brings us to our Coast TV poll tonight. We want to know, how do you feel about banning local police from partnering with ICE? Looking at the results, pretty mixed opinions here. 44% say they support it, 55% oppose it, 1% unsure. And we want to know what you think, so head over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app to vote. Well, you might remember the Indian River School District had 2 failed tax referendums this year, but it looks like the school tax rate is still going to go up in the district. State law allows school district to raise taxes up to 10% following property reassessments, which did happen this year. Tonight, school board members voted to do just that.
We haven't done a reassessment in Sussex County since 1974, I believe. So this has been a while coming, and we are at a position that is critical, you know, where we are now with the reserve monies and what we know we need in the future.
Again, this is only allowed under state law after a property reassessment, but there won't be another reassessment for about 5 to 10 years. Coming up in sports tonight, we hear from Decatur quarterback Johnny Hobgood. The rising senior shares how he earned a Division I commitment to Sacred Heart. Well, it happens every summer. The blood supply in the U.S. dips as people get away from their routines and fewer blood drives are held. But the American Red Cross says it needs blood year-round, and right now the organization is working to prevent shortages. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the need and a new promotion starting today.
From surgeries to emergencies, blood can be a critical key to keeping a patient alive, but often in summer, donor turnout dips.
Even though everybody else is taking a vacation during the summer, the need for blood doesn't stop and doesn't take a vacation.
Dr. Courtney Lawrence with the American Red Cross says the organization typically reaches their lowest supply in late summer, early fall, but they're trying to prevent shortages by calling all donors to give. While all blood types are needed, type O is especially in high demand.
It used to be thought that type O negative was the only blood type that could be given to people in an emergency, but we actually know that even O positive can be given safely to about 80% of the population who needs blood.
To encourage summer blood donation, the Red Cross has teamed up with the company Gooder. All who come to give blood through the organization from July 1st through 14th will get an exclusive pair of sunglasses while supplies last.
They actually come with stickers that you can personalize with your blood type. So less than 3% of the American population chooses to donate blood every year. So if you want to show off and be part of that proud percent, you have the opportunity to do so with these sunglasses in the first half of July.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
What was once an anomaly is starting to become a normality. Delmarva producing Division I football players every single year. Stephen Decatur's Johnny Hobgood recently committed to Sacred Heart in Connecticut. Hobgood joins recent graduate Nate Tapley as the second Seahawk to commit to the Pioneers. But Hobgood's journey to the Division I level was far from guaranteed. We spoke with the All-State junior earlier today, who said he couldn't have imagined this reality as a freshman and shared how he was able to make it possible.
My freshman year, I played receiver, and I played like D-end. So, I mean, I didn't think, not even, at least especially not for quarterback, I don't think anything like this could have ever happened. I was freshman year, I just went to the gym a lot and didn't really like push myself. But like these past 2 years, I really got in the weight room and I did things like with intent, and I went on the field and I did things on my mechanics and like specific throwing that I needed to work on. And it's just, you can't just go in and not like know what you're doing. Like you have to like know what to work on and keep doing that.
Now, while we're talking about new homes, let's talk about former Sixer Gershon Yabusele. The Philadelphia forward signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Knicks. Yabusele is one of the better stories in the league. He began his career with the Celtics and then left the NBA entirely in 2019. In his first year back with Philly, he averaged a career-best 11 points and 5 rebounds per game. In baseball, you know who else is getting paid today? Former Oriole Bobby Bonilla collected his $1.2 million from the Mets. He'll continue to do so until the year 2035. Bonilla and New York agreed on a deferred buyout back in 2000. The Mets agreed to pay Bonilla the remaining $5.9 million he was owed, but with 8% interest. Hence Bonilla's handsome collection every July 1st. He last played for the Mets in 1999. And the shocks continue to pile up at Wimbledon. American star and world number 2 Coco Gauff fell in straight sets in the opening round. Ukrainian Diana Yastremski stunned the reigning French Open champ. Gauff became the 8th top 10 seed between men's and women's tournaments to fall already. That is the most of any opening round of a major in the Open era. That'll do for sports. Have a great night, everybody.
We take a look right now, Ocean City. We're at 78 degrees, courtesy of our DryTech camera view, and we're expecting some more scattered showers at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Here's a look at the rain right now. The rain has not subsided. We're still tabulating it, but the storms have backed off a bit. We're still picking up some circulation signatures indicating we could see a bit of sprawling up of some stronger isolated cells, but I don't foresee them becoming any problems as far as becoming any tornado threat for us down the road. And so these will continue to carry across the Delmarva Peninsula. But we are expecting for things to flare up for Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, and possibly by noon. By the way, our umbrella winner, Barb Eller of Lewes, congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration. Be sure you call up our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Bundalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Another day of rain, a wet Wednesday, perhaps a little Thursday, but by July the 4th, we're dry.
Nice. Thanks again, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can find some more local news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.